The memorial is breathtaking. In my mind, the memorial represents freedom for the world. To this day, all of the Pacific is free, all of Europe is free, and thank God America is free.
Honor Flight provides, at no cost to the veteran, the opportunity to see the memorial that the American people have built on our National Mall. And I think that there's probably no better organization out there today that can provide something to somebody for nothing.
If anyone wants to see the importance of Honor Flight, look into the veterans' eyes and how they tear up when they are brought here.
You guys ready to go?
Yeah, ready to go.
We'd like to thank each and every one of you. It's truly a privilege to serve you today.
Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
When they walk into that memorial and they see that their friends will never be forgotten, that the sacrifice that they paid will always be cherished, always revered, always honored by this nation, they're taken back by that.
Thank you. Thank you.
For the World War II veterans, this is their last hurrah. They don't have reunions anymore. Most of their comrades in arms have all passed away. Quite often, they are the sole survivors of that tank crew or that ship or that air crew. Bringing them into their memorial, they come there representing all of their friends.
Just have to remember where so many comrades are laying out there yet. And just one of these things, before I die, I wanted to see it. Now I can go home, and if I croak, so what? I did it.
I'm just sorry my wife couldn't be here. She died about 6 months ago. I was drafted when I was 18 years old. I had my birthday, and 2 weeks later, I got my orders. I served with the 8th Air Force in Europe, and I flew on a B-17 bomber. A B-17 had a pilot and co-pilot, bombardier, navigator, nose gunner, tail gunner, top turret gunner, 2 waist gunners, and then a lower ball turret gunner that hung down under the plane. That was my position. I hung under the plane. It was the only position that you couldn't wear a parachute. It wasn't the most desirable because of that lack of a parachute, but somebody had to do it. And I didn't feel I was any better than anybody else. And so I was just 19 years old, frightened beyond description. There is no stories that are pleasant to remember, none whatsoever. I will tell you one. We got to our destination in England, I believe it was on about a Wednesday or Tuesday or Wednesday, and then we started our first flying on, I think, the following Saturday. And I can remember as we crossed the front lines, my knees shook so bad and my whole body trembled. And I said, how can I hold these guns? I had twin 50 caliber machine guns that were this way. They went over my shoulders. And whenever those were fired, it smelled terrible. It smelled like death. I can remember so vividly what a terrible thing that was. But the most memorable probably will be on that very mission when I looked to the left. The bomber that was to the left of us took a direct hit right in the middle, and it blew apart. And the tail went like this going down, and I saw the tail gunner bail out. I could see his chute, but as I looked, I could see none from the other members. And that just, I can see that now, and it doesn't do me any good to remember it. You know what I mean? And so there was a saying, mission accomplished. It didn't mean that you had to maybe make a bullseye, but if you took your bombs as far as, well, if you were headed for New York City, I'll just use this maybe, and you flew in and you got as far as New Jersey and you had to go back. You weren't credited as a mission. So I can't really say how many missions I went on, but we completed 27. But the Lord was with me, and that's when I gave my heart to Christ during those horrible, horrible events. And we saw so many destruction and so many people killed. And it's difficult to think about it, but as people have tried to comfort me whenever I feel real bad about it, they will say, remember, you didn't do that out of vengeance. You did that to protect our country and to keep us. I was back home for, I guess, at least 10 or maybe more years before anybody said thank you for your service. I didn't really, I wasn't offended by that exactly. I mean, but no one seemed to have any appreciation to speak about it anyway. When I got out of the military and they discharged me, and they said, now son, if you live long enough, this is all going to come back to you. And it did come back with a vengeance just a few years ago. But as a Christian, you learn to live with whatever God brings into your life, in whatsoever state I am. I trust the Lord for that. When you are appreciated, it doesn't make you proud. It makes you more humble than anything else. And you can say to yourself, it was worth it. Just say thank you and mean it.
It's the best program I've ever been associated with. You know, we're all in the same fraternity. If it hadn't been for these guys, I don't know where we'd be today or what language we'd speak.
I say about the terrorist, Al-Qaeda, if it weren't for these guys, we wouldn't have to worry about terrorists today. We'd already be occupied. We'd already be a different country. So we owe them a lot.
There are families that we will call up and say, we have a seat available for your dad, only to be told that Dad did not survive the winter. We're racing against a clock. In another 5 to 7 years, it'll be a moot point. They will be gone. We're working as fast as we can, but we need so much support from so many people to make these dreams a reality. This is probably the last chapter in their lives, and for some, it's literally the last paragraph of their lives. What a way to end their stories.
This has been one of the really great days of my life.
I'm sure glad I was able to live long enough to see it.
When you are appreciated, it doesn't make you proud. It makes you more humble than anything else. And you can say to yourself, it was worth it. Just say thank you and mean it.